we don't go. We pay the top dollars. We buy gold. We buy gold, sir.
It's a business.
Give us your gold, sir. We want your gold.
Do many people sell their gold?
Yeah, because at this time the economy is kind of low, and just when the economy came back, you could sell your gold, put food on the table. The way the economy is now, you know.
So many people sell their gold.
Yeah, we're
desperate people.
Well, sometimes you may be desperate just for vacation reason, for gas reason. You sell it out of necessity, you know.
Yeah. Oké, thank you.
You're welcome.
In 1650 was Nieuw Amsterdam een nogal armoedige bende. Dat fort verkeerde echt in een deplorabele staat en er was geen geld om het te repareren. En toen in 1652 ook nog eens de Eerste Engelse Oorlog uitbrak tussen de Republiek en de Engelsen, toen werden al die koloniën van de Engelsen die hier in de buurt lagen, werden een directe bedreiging voor Nieuw Amsterdam. En de nieuwe leider, Peter Stuyvesant, die gaf opdracht tot de aanleg van een verdedigingswerk. En het werd een muur. Hier legde hij die aan. Wall Street. Een wal. Van de Hudson tot de Oostrivier. Kijk, hier kun je zien hoe dat eruit zag. Een muur die het hele eiland doormidden sneed. Die muur die hier was gemaakt van palen, 4 meter hoog, geslepen in een scherpe punt. En dan hadden ze er nog een borstwering tegen aangebouwd om het geheel wat sterker te maken. Het is allemaal verdwenen. Het enige wat er nog over is een tekeningetje, later gemaakt, die een indruk geeft.
The Dam, of course, was originally a dam, and from the time it was made, in the Middle Ages, it was the meeting place of Amsterdam, and between here and the where the ships, of course, were, was the area where something really new was developed. The idea of shares of stock. People learned the hard way that if you put all of your money into a ship and the ship sinks, you've lost everything. But if you put 1/50th of your money into 50 different ships, you stand a pretty good chance of getting a profit. And so in this area here, they started first on the street trading shares of stock, and then a bourse came into being. So this became the financial engine of the Dutch Empire, and then this whole notion was transferred to New Amsterdam, and not coincidentally, Wall Street, the financial district of New York, developed from that basis.
So, this was a 17th century Wall Street. It was a financial district.
This was the Dutch Wall Street. The Ei was, in the 17th century, famously described as a forest of masts. And this then was the place from which the Dutch, the seafaring nation of the 17th century, conquered the world. Not conquered the world militarily, but via trade.
What was their strong point?
Speed and efficiency, doing things better and faster and cheaper. You could say they were the Federal Express of the 17th century. You could say it was the overall impulse. It was expanding eastward, and then, in the wake of Henry Hudson, finally expanding westward to North America. When they first went in, they knew they were in a real world-class harbor.
I love the Brooklyn Bridge, though. I always felt that I owned a piece of it.
I thought you did.
Even though it connects Brooklyn to Manhattan, you really feel that it belongs to this side of the city. Huh?
De haven van New York met haar ideale ligging is eeuwenlang de grootste werkgever en geldmaker van de stad geweest. Een van de belangrijkste havenbuurten lag hier, in Red Hook, in het zuidwestelijke puntje van Brooklyn. Een nu afgelegen buurt met veel lege pakhuizen en brownstones. Ooit was het anders. In 1636 werd het bevolkt door Nederlandse kolonisten die het Rode Hoek noemden, vanwege de rode kleiachtige grond. In de 19e en 20e eeuw werd het een druk havengebied. Duizenden scheepsjouwers en dokwerkers leefden in de straten van Red Hook. Maar in de jaren 50 zette de teloorgang in en werd het stil rond de havenbedrijven. Enkele bleven.
When they unloaded all these ships, they went into all these warehouses. All along there, all the way down to the end of the dock, all warehouses. All over that was warehouses. Right here, there was a gate, and when the 12 o'clock whistle blew, there had to be 10,000 people from all these warehouses. And as soon as the bell rang, these gates opened up, and we used to play in the street. When these gates opened up,
stampede.
there was stampede. I could still feel it, and you could hear them. Actually, you can feel the ground vibrate from them running where it is they had to go. Yes, and we had, my father built us a boat, little sort of rowboat, and we used to go over the Statue of Liberty, and over the Statue of Liberty was a graveyard for old ferry boats. There was a spawning ground for crabs.
Cribs, yeah.
And whatnot, see? So we would go over there with bushels, and we would catch crabs, and we'd come back, and my father would cook them for us. You know, the whole waterfront was part of our playground. When we were kids growing up, it looked like the Long Island Expressway. From there to there had to be 50 ships. 50 ships. One would leave, another would come in.
I can see it, yeah. I can see it myself in my head, I can see it, yeah.
In the 50s is when they began to use containers to ship their goods in. Jersey began to develop these container ports before we did here. So that was probably one of the biggest reasons for the amount of labor and work that began to disappear in New York, especially here in Brooklyn.
Everything got deteriorated.
Yeah.
You had certain people come in and didn't care about anybody's property.
They didn't maintain it.
Used to steal the brass, the copper from the houses, abandoned houses.
And people burning
And it
down
finally
their
got
own
sold
houses
down.
for
That's why
sure.
years ago, you buy property almost for nothing down here. Because nobody wanted to be down here. Remember what? Property you used to buy for $3,000, right? A building, a house, for
that's right.
$3,000. Now,
right.
it costs you like $900,000 for the same thing.
Yeah.
This is the way things changed.
When you go to Manhattan, you're like any other individual that travels to New York and visits Manhattan. You feel like a visitor when you go there, when you live in Red Hook.
It's true.
But when you come to Red Hook, you feel like a Red Hooker.
It's like family down here, really.
It
It's
is.
like family.
See, there's a ferry now.
They go IKEA, but they buy the furniture and stuff. It's free. All the money's over in Manhattan. That's where the money is now. That's where they're making money now. Nothing left down here.
That's where the money is of the world. In spite of the fact they screwed it up. You know, the economy.
Wall Street, het symbool van onbeperkte welvaart en rijkdom. De geldmagneet die het kapitalisme in beweging zet en in beweging houdt. Beweegt en rolt dat geld, dan werkt het voor je. En dat is al heel lang vanzelfsprekend. Totdat natuurlijk er onzekerheid optreedt. Totdat het systeem begint te haperen terwijl iedereen zichzelf blijft rijk rekenen. Daar zitten we nu middenin. En New York, als financiële hoofdstad van de wereld, is extra hard getroffen door de crisis. De vraag is, wat zal er zijn veranderd als het stof is neergedaald?
This system is finished. It's over, people. Throw the bankers in jail. Yep, time to save the economy, not the bankrupt financial system. Bernie McDuff's all alone. He needs company. Don't bail him out, throw him in jail. The ship is sinking.
Lyndon's a billionaire.
The ship is sinking.
How much are you stealing?
That's right. How stupid can you
How much
be?
are you stealing?
Lyndon's lives in a castle.
That's right. How stupid
How stupid have you been over the years? How stupid have you been? You listened to Lyndon before. You're stupid.
The House of Pain.
Led down by all the stuff we hate in America. Sell. The banks, the retailers, and of course, the automakers. Sell. You simply had to close your eyes and buy because we are so oversold. You have to buy even if you think the world is coming to an end. You have to buy even though everyone is saying, listen, it's over. I'm not listening. You're not listening to the show. My forecast for you next week, if you persist in owning this nonsense, is pain.
And BLT.
Thank you very much. I always felt lucky because I very much liked my job. So being paid well was a wonderful, it's a loaded word, bonus to my job.
Salespeople or traders would probably make in the order of, 500 to $1.5 million, somewhere in that range. Is that fair?
Yeah,
Total compensation, salary, bonus, and the stock component. And that's a fair amount of money. But I think once Bear Stearns collapsed, and people that we all know closely, whose liquid net worth dropped by, 99%, overnight, that hit home. That really hit home. And I think that's when it took on a different turn, and, the next period was outright terror and fright.
Incredibly unlikely events became everyday happenings. And despite having good years in the past, unfortunately had a bad month and was let go. It's obvious that there was a bubble going on globally, and at some point you could look out and you say, oh yeah, the housing market may be a bubble, but my pay wasn't. It was at times hard to take a step back and say everything about our life perhaps was a bit high octane, I guess.
This is what happened, right? Guarantee it's going to happen again, somehow. And in this country, probably in this city. I just hope we spot it soon enough so we can get on board early. And I honestly, I think the people who saw how the incentives were lined up back in 2001 and 2002 made a ton of money. They beat the system. And I hope, as I say, we identify the factors that will drive the next bubble and get aboard before anyone else. Let's be honest, this is just the way the system was, and it's the way we are. Remember, it's a recession.
In Amsterdam was het hoofdkantoor gevestigd van de West-Indische Compagnie, de 17e-eeuwse half militaire multinational die in 1621 werd opgericht. De WIC kreeg van de Staten-Generaal het monopolie om handel te voeren met alle koloniën in het Atlantische gebied. Het ging om suiker, mais, uiteindelijk ook slaven. En de 80-jarige oorlog was nog in volle gang, de jacht op Spaanse koopvaarders. Ook voerde de compagnie het bewind over de kolonie Nieuw Nederland.
So there we are, Compagniezaal.
Yeah, and this is the room from which the hoge mogende heren, the high and mighty lords of the West India Company, planned a colony in the New World, with its capital on Manhattan, that would of course later become New York.
All the reports came here, were reviewed, all the decisions were made here.
And all of Peter Stuyvesant, as director of the colony, sent his complaints, his problems, and so on here. They reviewed it and then gave their answers with 2 to 3 month intervals in between. The West India Company never succeeded, truly. It didn't really make a profit. As it turned out, in the Atlantic, it was all very complicated. An ocean products in West Africa, products in the Caribbean, in South America, in North America, how to manage this whole cycle. And they just couldn't solve the puzzle. So this is the West Indies packhouse at the Eye, and they brought the products here, stored beavers and tobacco and otters and other products from North America. So the story of the West India Company is the story of decline, and when you come into this room, you see it. Because after 1640, the 19 men of the company moved from the West Indies House to here, to this very small and relatively humble office, which at the time would have afforded views onto the ships, onto their fleet. And it's not a bad space for anyone's office, but relatively speaking, it epitomizes the declining fortunes of the company.
19 gentlemen. 19
In one little room.
In one little room. In een wanhopige poging de economie van de kolonie te stimuleren, gaf de West-Indische Compagnie in 1640 haar handelsmonopolie op. Voorheen mocht alleen de compagnie geld verdienen aan de bondhandel. Maar door gebrek aan menskracht en kapitaal was het nooit gelukt om dat monopolie uit te buiten. Eindelijk mochten zelfstandige handelaren zaken doen met de Indianen die met hun beverpelzen naar Manhattan kwamen. Het ontstaan van die nieuwe vrijhandelszone had een elektriserend effect. En al snel had iedere kolonist wel belang in een scheepslading of een partijtje bont. Iedereen werd handelaar, druk met van alles. Ook in het huidige New York is zo'n nieuwe handelsklasse ontstaan. Het zijn de circa 1 miljoen freelancers. Meestal werkzaam in sectoren als reclame, media, webdesign en non-profit. Ze bevolken alle moderne New Yorkse juice bars en sandwich shops met gratis internet.
I am an independent consultant and I work with nonprofit organizations around the country, primarily those focusing on increasing voter turnout in low-income and minority neighborhoods. I left my job in 2005 and I had a home office first. I thought it was going to be perfect. I had a beautiful house, I adopted a kitten, me in my office, and I got just completely unproductive and unhappy. And so I started going to different coffee shops in Brooklyn, where I live. But then you can't be on the phone with a client and there's a cappuccino machine in the background. You know, it just doesn't work after a while.
Yeah, just put together sort of your guys' dream list.
What kind of space is this exactly?
It's a shared office space with a lot of different individual freelancers and small companies. We each can rent a desk at a time or an office. At the time, in 2005, when I was looking for a place like this was the only one of its kind. And now, just in the last couple years, there's a ton of spaces like this. This is the magic drawer that we all share. Several varieties of tea. Mints for when a client is coming in and your breath is bad. Everybody has access to that. Deodorant, stuff like that. I need to be around people, and preferably people who are doing something that's a little different than what I do. It exercises my brain in a different way to be around people who are, for example, running a small chocolate company or a talent agent for Broadway actors. When you're looking in DC for work, you should definitely talk to me because I know lots of people.
Yeah, because you've been...
Yeah.
And you're a freelancer yourself?
Sure, yeah. It gives you freedom. If you want to come in an hour late, you can. If you decide you want to work from a coffee shop one day, you want to work from home, you can do that. Just a lot of flexibility at the end of the day. It's about a lifestyle. It's about sort of how you want to run your business. I think to a certain extent, all freelancers are very sort of independent-minded. They're people that like to get the job done.
Made me grow up a lot because I have to go after what I want in a different way than I would if I just had a job at one organization. So I think as a freelancer, one is asked a lot more often to step back and say, what's my portfolio, what's missing, and then it's your responsibility to make that happen. I think it's part of what makes New York so different is that there's all these people, all these individuals kind of following their particular individual dream and whatever their creative drive is. Once you're here, it's hard to leave, I think, because that particular energy is really inspiring and compelling.
Hudson River, een van de snelwegen van Nieuw-Nederland. Hoe zou het er hier in de 17e eeuw hebben uitgezien? Met al die scheepjes, volgeladen met bevervellen die van heinde en verre naar Manhattan kwamen. Terwijl de zelfstandige handelaren nu vrij spel hadden, braken de magistraten van de West-Indische Compagnie en kolonieleider Willem Kieft zich nog altijd het hoofd hoe ze Nieuw-Nederland winstgevend konden maken.
The company was no longer making money off of the fur trade, except for a fee that they paid, that the fur traders paid on transporting the furs. They paid a recognition fee, it's called. So Kieft decided that the Indians should pay a tax as well, because they were also profiting from the fur trade, and they should pay a tax on the corn and fur.
Did they understand that?
Hardly. They were more or less insulted, I think. And this was not the way you should be handling the Indians. They fell into a period of escalation until full-scale war broke out between the Indians and the Dutch in 1643.
I have a quotation here that tells something about these events. Tussen de 25e en 26e februari 1643 wierden 's nachts op Pavonia over 80 wilden gemassacreerd door 80 soldaten. Al waren de jonge kinderen, sommige van moeders borst afgerukt, aan stukken gekapt en zo doorhouwen, doorsteken, doorboord en de miserabelijk gemassacreerd dat het een stenen herten vermorven zouden. That sounds graphic.
Very severe.
Yeah. And how does the war end?
The Indians end it, basically, through their diplomacy. They get together, they decide that this cannot go on, and they are the ones who dampen the tension and resolve the situation. The arrival of Stuyvesant brings discipline to the colony. He takes control of the trade networks, and trade begins to recover, slowly recover.
Crisis of geen crisis, New York blijft dé handelsplaats van de wereld. Nergens kun je zo snel een product lanceren als hier. In de 17e eeuw is het niet zoveel anders. Vanaf Manhattan werden ieder jaar 80.000 beverpelzen verscheept naar Europa. En daar vonden ze hun weg in de bondhandel. Maar die handel hoort echt bij de vroegste periode van de kolonie. Ze vonden al snel een nieuwe melkkoe, tabak. Dat was het product van de toekomst. En Amsterdam werd al snel de tabakshoofdstad van de wereld. De tabakshandel begon aan een eeuwenlange groei. Inmiddels zijn de tijden alweer veranderd.
You have something more robusto?
Size-wise, you mean? Yeah. Dominican, Connecticut wrapper, have a nice, mild bite. It's great for this time of day.
We have seen major changes. I mean, from the time when tobacco was traded as an American commodity, the #1 export item for over 200 years, to a period of anti-smoking sentiment, which has been fostered around the country. I know in just the years that I've been here, we've encountered quite a different feeling. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Hello. I would like to say hello, Mr. Sherman.
Hi, Andrew.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you for joining us, and thank you for being here. We appreciate it. It's an honor to meet you. You keep the place going.
Well, it's a great place. You keep it going for me.
Okay.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Sherman.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. I wanted to extend my thanks for extending our membership for the next year with the issues that you're having with the city of New York at the moment. At some point, you want to come here to feel good about yourself. So, thank you again.
Sorry,
thank you.
Could you explain a little bit about the issues that you were talking about?
Yes, the city of New York has issues with a place where they have smoking as well as food service combined. Mr. Sherman has some pull with the politicians of this city, and I think they're doing a great job in just persevering
Is
through
it
the
difficult
process.
for politicians to be enjoying a good smoke? I mean, that they were publicly known for doing so.
Well, Rudy Giuliani uses my office upstairs because he can't smoke in his office. And his office is about a block and a half away, and he has a locker in the back in the private section. Bill Richardson
is the governor.
And as you look around, they're all over the place. Cigars are a social lubricant. A man can be a truck driver speaking to a corporate president, and if they're sharing a cigar and they're smoking cigars, that difference disappears entirely. It has a magical quality all of its own, and it always has.
I see a portrait here of President Kennedy. Was he a
great cigar smoker? Not a regular customer, as Clinton was.
Yeah, but he liked his cigars. He smoked a lot.
Very much. I mean, there's a famous story that goes on that he called up Pierre Salinger and gave him his then press secretary and said, I want you to go out and buy every one of a particular number Upman number 2s. Don't ask me, just do it. And the next morning he called him and said, did you get them? He said, I got them, Mr. President. He said, fine. And at which point he signed the order of the embargo.
The embargo to Cuba, banning all imports from Cuba.
Exactly.
Therefore, yeah, I understand. And with Clinton, you mean President Clinton?
He was a regular customer. Through a third party, the person who ordered for him was surprisingly the fellow who introduced Monica Lewinsky to the job.
There is this thing with Monica Lewinsky and cigars too. Yeah, well, interesting.
Don, thank you very much.
I'll see you again.
Happy holidays.
Trip.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
May I offer you a cigar before you leave?
You may very well do so.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
Let me return the favor. There you are.
It's such a pleasurable pastime.
Yeah.
And I think it's the Puritans who feel it's, God forbid there should be somebody someplace who's enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
I think in time the tide will turn. The reality will finally take hold.
Only joking. Put that on TV.
In de loop van de jaren 40 van de 17e eeuw, nadat de oorlog met de Indianen achter de rug was, zou Nieuw Amsterdam onstuimig blijven groeien. Deze ene plek, op Batavia in Nederlands-Indië na, trok meer kolonisten dan alle handelsposten van de Nederlandse Republiek tezamen. Het werd een plaats met een geheel eigen dynamiek die zich bijna autonoom zou ontwikkelen. De kolonie aan de rand van de wildernis begon een welvarende samenleving te worden. Kon je het in Nieuw Amsterdam nou sneller maken dan in Amsterdam zelf?
Je kon hier sneller aan de top komen, omdat het een kleinere samenleving was. Tegen 1674 heb je hier kooplieden die behoorlijk veel geld hebben. Dus dan hebben we het over 70.000 tot 90.000 gulden, de rijkste.
En dat is in guldens van die tijd?
Dat zijn guldens van die tijd.
Dat moeten we vergelijken met iets?
Ja, dat is bijna niet te vergelijken. Maar dan heb je het wel over miljoenen. Dus die willen graag ook genieten van de mooiere dingen van het leven. En die laten ze overkomen uit Amsterdam.
En aan wat voor soort dingen moet ik dan denken bij die luxe goederen?
Dan zie je dat er Spaanse wijn, Franse wijn geïmporteerd wordt. Nou ja, daar zit nog een New York Wine Exchange. En brandewijn, dat soort zaken. Ook boeken worden dan geïmporteerd, zilverwaar. Al dat soort luxe dingen beginnen langzaam te komen. Het blijft natuurlijk een stuk duurder dan het in Amsterdam is. Dus het is echt alleen voor de rijkeren. En geleidelijk aan, in de 17e eeuw, zie je dat er steeds meer rijkdom komt. Dat mensen die hier wonen zich beter gaan ontwikkelen, dat ze hun huizen beter kunnen gaan aankleden, dat ze ook de mode beter kunnen gaan volgen. Nou, die komt tegen die tijd, aan het eind van de 17e, komt de mode uit Frankrijk. Dus dan zie je ook dat ze dat soort dingen gaan doen. Alle dingen moesten ook heel specifiek besteld worden. Ja. En dat zie je in de correspondentie van bijvoorbeeld Jeremias van Renselaar. Die vraagt om schoenen van Spaans leer. En die moeten dan apart gemaakt worden. En zo gaat het maar door. Ze bestellen oorijzers, dus van die wafelijzers die vrouwen in zo'n kapje dragen. En die moeten allemaal uit Amsterdam komen. Al dat soort dingen. Ja, het wordt duidelijk een rijkere kolonie.
Welcome to Hammaker Schlemmer, New York City, the best gadget store in the world. Why don't you come on in?
Welcome. Command, please.
Time.
The time is 4:25 p.m.
And it's only $49.95. This is the ultimate child playhouse for the child of your dream. Comes in different colors and range about $3,500.
Hi, my name is Christina Lanza, and welcome to the ritzy Canine Carriage House. You gotta have shoes in the winter here in New York. In New York, there's a lot of salt, and can always be a possibility of the dogs getting electrocuted. We also have, they're called doggles. They're really good, quite nice, especially if your dog is in a carrier on a bicycle or a motorbike or a convertible, or if you just want your dog to look cool.
Hello, I'm Sylvia Weinstock. Welcome to my shop here in Manhattan. I'm in the cake business, and you can see I'm sitting among some of my products. We are a couture shop. What we have done is to design the most beautiful and the most delicious cakes that you could ever eat.
This is the power nap shell for the executive, perfectly designed for the human body, ergonomically designed. Includes LED lights and music, sound for your own relaxation mood. Retail at $25,000, manufactured in Germany.
And she's so cute, right? And I think that Pierogi needs a podicure. What do you think? And of course, I change the colors, you know, depending on the holidays. Red for Christmas, orange for Halloween, pink for every day. Good girl.
We have a variety of designs. They're designed just for each bride to their fantasy. We want their fantasy to become a reality, and that is our task.
So in this room, we do have movies for the visual stimulation. We've got a little wardrobe down here, so if they bring a change of clothes, some of them bring pajamas, we will hang up their clothes for them. Our room service meal today, it's all organic, so it's human grade. You and I could eat it.
We also have a website, and it's Sylvia Weinstock Cakes, and it's just a teaser. It's not going to tell you exactly what we do, and we can either fax or email specific designs to you.
So if you want to see more of our amazing store, visit our website at www.hammaker.com or visit our New York store in the heart of New York.
www.ritzycanine.com. All right, thank you.
Als Nieuw Amsterdam zo gaat groeien in de jaren 50, dan wordt het interessant voor de Engelsen om te willen hebben. Maar hoe zit dat nou? Waarom draait het?
Nou ja, het gaat om twee dingen. Het gaat om de Engelse koloniën.
Ja?
Die zijn geïnteresseerd in de goede landbouwgrond, zowel hier op Long Island, maar ook in Westchester. En het gaat ten tweede om de Engelse handel. Vanuit Nieuw Amsterdam worden goederen uit de Republiek doorgevoerd naar Virginia en Maryland. Tabak wordt daar ingekocht en via Nieuw Amsterdam dan naar Amsterdam gevoerd. Nou, dat is eigenlijk een soort ontsnappingsroute voor Engelse belastingen. Die worden dan niet meer aan Londen afgedragen. Dus de Engelse kroon loopt belastinggelden mis. En dat wordt een van de belangrijke argumenten om Nieuw Amsterdam over te nemen. Een tweede argument is natuurlijk dat die Nederlanders hier al decennia lang zitten, terwijl het geclaimd wordt door de Engelsen. En dat is je als Engelse vorst natuurlijk niet meer kan tolereren.
Maar waarom was dat zo? Waarom voerden die Engelse landbouwers dan hun spullen niet via Engelse havens af?
Nou, er zijn twee argumenten voor. Punt 1, waren de Engelse havens in de kolonie minder geschikt? Dat is het eerste. Maar ten tweede, de Nederlanders hadden gewoon betere handelsgoederen. En de Nederlandse scheepvaart was superieur. Die konden de zaken sneller en goedkoper vervoeren naar Europa.
Die laatste 15 jaar onder Nederlands bestuur, hoe groot is de stad dan en hoe groeit die?
Nieuw-Nederland wordt enorm groot, naar omvang van die tijd gemeten. Als Stuyvesant hier aankomt, zijn er in Nieuw-Nederland 1500 kolonisten. Tegen de tijd dat hij de kolonie overgeeft, in 1664, zijn er 7.000 à 8.000.
Zo.
Dus het is echt een enorme groei in een relatief korte periode. Als de Engelsen het nog langer hadden laten bestaan, dan was het dus tot een dusdanige omvang gegroeid dat het veel moeilijker zou zijn geweest om het over te nemen. En wellicht als Engeland langer had gewacht, hadden ze hier nog steeds Nederlands gesproken.
New York is nog altijd de plek die men wil bezitten. In de 17e eeuw waren het de Engelsen en vandaag de dag wordt er weer aan de poort geklopt. Maar op een andere manier. Vroeger kwamen ze met kanonnen, nu met een zak geld. En aangezien het door de huidige crisis iets betaalbaarder is geworden, willen hedendaagse veroveraars als kinderen in de snoepwinkel zo snel mogelijk hun slag slaan. They're aggressive in spending, so they're ready for New York City. Dat vertelt de Chinees-Amerikaanse makelaar die hem begeleidt. New York is tenslotte een plaats om in te geloven. Zoals iedereen door de eeuwen heen in deze plaats heeft geloofd.
一起来，对，没关系。对，我还要给你们发资料。这幢楼呢是新建的 ，OK， 这个都拿起来，这刚才没有给你的哈 ，OK， 好，谢谢谢谢 ，OK， 好，进去，谢谢。
来，请进。
进来好了，这是朝南的，
这
是两房的。 好漂亮哈！
这有河景、啊。
这个是1200多平方，对对对，这边是朝南的，我们中文都讲朝南比较喜欢对。
If you see the campus here, this is facing the red arrow is facing north, so this direction is south.
Okay, and why do you want to know?
But to see, you know, each person has a best direction.
You actually see. This is good. This is especially. Oh, okay, that's great. Yeah, should do that too.
Direction is very important for Chinese buyers because it brings them good luck, good qi, prosperity. So south and east is most popular exposure for Chinese buyers that we have.
这个 Freedom Tower 现在还在建嘛？对。Freedom Tower 就是世贸中心的那个 World Trade Center 那个 location，right？ 所以它现在就是还是 happening， 它好多新楼一直在盖，对面有个 W Hotel， 反正这些楼都会上去。所以这边呢，
地点其实不错。
价值。
那这栋楼现在全新，里面都没有住。People coming here for school or for work. And this is important, so it's a generation thing. So this is the grandma, and that's the mom, and buying for the next generation.
Nice.
We're seeing a lot of Chinese people buy in New York because it is still much more safe in New York real estate more than anything else. They realize, you know, it's good for them to transfer some money to New York to safeguard their assets.
What does this apartment cost?
This apartment costs $1,695,000 US dollars. Obviously, it depends on the size, the locations, but this is a very well-priced building.
Good.
Do you like the
apartment? Yeah. Like? Yeah, I like it.
I think everything is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, design and everything.
And the price is right.
Process, I think, is right.
还有一个 hope.
还有一个 hope. She says she sees the water, she sees the hope. And it's important to, you know, look at the water and feel the good future coming.
都装好的哈 ，OK， 那大家都到前面去看一下 view 好了，对。
那大家往这边进。
You would consider buying one of those? You like them?
Yeah, I love it. I'm just thinking about it. That's why I come to here.
And the money is not a problem?
I think it's no problem.
So do you think it's a right price?
Yeah, I wish.
A little lower.
Right.
Yeah.
你有我。
不能讲。
She asked me, we make sure she gets a good price. But as far as the buyers for, you know, the apartment like this, Chinese buyers, normally the price is not really an objection. 喜欢哪一户的话呢，就留下来，好不好？然后打电话给金小姐，或打电话给我们。然后对，然后它上面的价位呢没有关系，你不管它价位，喜欢多少我们再谈价钱，好不好？因为我们这一栋卖了很多，所以说跟他们关系很好，我们可以慢慢讨论价钱，好不好？那如果看别的地区，
Je hoort wel eens, de Chinezen kopen Manhattan op. Dat is misschien wat overdreven, maar het is wel duidelijk dat de tijden in een rap tempo aan het veranderen zijn. In de 21e eeuw zullen New York en Amerika niet meer het centrum van de wereld zijn. De Aziatische naties met hun groeiende economie en hun enorme financiële reserves die eisen hun rol op. En toch, het internationalisme van een stad als New York, het houdt iets majesteitelijks. Het blijft een extreem goede plek om handel te drijven, ideeën uit te wisselen, het te maken. En waarom? Domweg omdat je hier om de hoek van de straat de meest uiteenlopende mensen vindt om dat samen mee te doen. De kwaliteit van een marktplein wordt bepaald door de netwerken die er samenkomen. Being a networking expert in New York, what do I have to do to be a successful networking person in New York?
Well, you know what's funny? Sometimes I think it's in your genes, right? Like me, I was born into a family of networkers. My father was always like a sales rep. But I think for you, or someone that's trying to be a networker here in New York, you just have to have confidence, and you have to have a message. You want to have a business card, and maybe even a way that will really catch them. So for instance, like I have like a cool looking case, so maybe I take out that case and I flip.
People remember that,
right?
Yeah?
So then I say, "Oh, what is that?" And I say, "Oh, it's a little Dalai Lama type guru," and then maybe they'll make that connection with me, and then you open it, and then I choose, ooh, which card am I going to give to this person?
Oh.
And then maybe it's the flashy one, with the color. Yes.
There you are. This is my card.
Oh, and you see, you're already in business because it looks very interesting, and I'm looking at this and I want to say that looks like a typewriter.
Right.
And then the idea is, if it's someone you've never met before, to then exchange the cards, follow up with an email, right? And then offer to take them for lunch or meet for a dinner.
I was just calling.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, don't do you think?
This is Rob Kahn, one of our party throwers.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, how are you? I'm Dirk van
That's
Weelden.
Dirk.
Hi.
Rob, you see, we're networking on the spot.
And there we go.
I'm a writer who presents a documentary.
And Rob works for a music company.
Music company? Like
Music company,
publishing music?
No, we write music for TV.
Ah.
So we
Scores for?
Scores for shows, promo packages, show packages. Any music.
So if you need
Sound
any
design.
music for the show, you should keep Rob in mind.
It would be fun to write music for that.
Well, you might be interested. We maybe should meet somewhere.
Absolutely.
Later to discuss it in detail.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Perfect.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I would give you mine, but I didn't bring any.
How did I do?
You did very well right there, and that was real. That was that was not an act.
Good
to see you.
Good to see you too.
Television shows, commercials, commercials for television, that kind of thing.
Do you also design titles for documentary films?
Yes. Oddly enough, right?
Well, I was already saying CA Square, the company that I represent, would love the opportunity.
Don't you have a problem with it that there are many competitors of you here, maybe?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? But I'm the best. So
I already told them that if they need any show packaging.
Oh, yes. Since we are here in a networking event.
There you are.
Thank you. Dirk van Weelden. Did I pronounce that correctly?
What kind of things do you produce?
Oh, I produce everything from large commercials. I just finished a whole huge Ford Fusion package. We shot in photo bubble, heavy 2D, 3D graphics, live action.
If there were 4 Erics here, you would have a problem.
There's only one Eric.
It's better to make your enemies your friends. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And it's right now, I think we all have to be super creative and build partnerships more than anything.
I'm a writer, caught up in a documentary film. It's the first time I do anything like this. Cool. But I'm learning. We're almost done, but I've definitely improved a little bit in the last month.
Emilio?
Netwerken, samenwerken, alles om te overleven in de grote stadseconomie die in een neerwaartse spiraal is beland. Ooit groeiden de bomen hier tot in de hemel. Maar die tijd lijkt nu even voorbij. Eigenlijk is dat niets bijzonders. Opkomst, dominantie en de onvermijdelijke neergang behoren tot de normale golfbewegingen in de geschiedenis. Eén ding verandert nooit. In New York vind je altijd mensen die met nieuwe ideeën de toekomst tegemoet treden. Waar de grote banken aan de overheidsketting liggen, floreren namelijk de kleine boutique investment banks. Deze bedrijven, waarin de managers vaak zelf een financieel belang hebben, specialiseren zich in meer risicovolle producten. Maar met uitzicht op een grotere oogst.
Okay, gentlemen, welcome to Aladdin Capital. Let me show you around the place. It's been a busy day here. The markets are winding down finally, but nonetheless, it's been an interesting day.
Right, it's 19.2 basis points. Right. No, well, no. What it says is less than 30 million will have a minimum charge of $4,000 per month.
Wall Street is under siege. Washington right now is very angry at the financial sector for the crisis that occurred. And if you're receiving money from the U.S. government, then there's a question of what you should be paying people. The risk-reward scenario is diminished from what it used to be because you have that government money there and government directions. So what you're watching is a brain drain out of the old institutions on Wall Street to more of the sectors such as where we are, which is the boutique investment bank side of the business. Excuse me, Matt. I'd like to introduce you to the gentleman from Dutch television. Hi. This is Matt Eastwick.
Hi. Matt Eastwick. Nice to meet you.
He recently joined us from a larger institution, and we're pleased to have him here.
So, you left Wall Street.
Yes, I've worked at large institutions for my entire career, and the landscape has certainly changed. And for us personally, I think it's an interesting opportunity to be masters of our own destiny and be able to create and build a business, and to not have to worry about a lot of external matters.
Still, I don't understand this exodus. Why all this top talent leaves Wall Street?
Part of it is a compensation issue. We still live in a capitalist society, and the free market should bear what each of us earn.
So working for a company like this, without any government control, you can make much more money.
You can, yes. There's more risk involved on a personal perspective, but you're also able to build for the long term. And as smaller firms become bigger firms, the ability to create wealth is clearly there.
How many Wall Street people did you hire lately?
We've hired quite a few.
Oh, yeah?
The exact number, I'm not terribly sure of at the moment, but it's been quite a few people.
And that's the cream of the crop?
We would like to think so. Absolutely. You had a vacuum, and now you have new players moving into that vacuum.
And your company did see that?
Our company did see that. We have a degree of momentum, and momentum is critical in these markets right now. If you go all the way back to the foundation of New York under the Dutch, there's a tremendous ability for reinvention. The reinvention of people and their ideas, and the ability to really be able to plug those ideas and to create a business out of it.